Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. You got a lot going on in the world to talk about. But the first thing I want to get out here and talk about is the fact that we don't know nothing. And I'm going to tell you how I know that we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing because last night, and really throughout the duration of this whole season, Sam Darnold been out here throwing the ball to, there's one exception I can think of, but otherwise, Sam Darnold out here throwing the ball to a bunch of white boys and they about to go to the Super Bowl. Everything you ever thought you knew about the world goes out the window when you think about that. Sam Darnold out there throwing it to a Cooper, a Jake. What's the other one, Ryan?
Not even a Jake, a Bobo.
Yeah, Jake. I say Jake Bobo, right? Like there's another white dude out there throwing it to, and ain't none of them like Matt McCarthy. He fast, right?
Yeah.
They just out here I guess Cooper Kupp at one point was fast. Yeah, it's out here making. And by the way, they didn't just win that game with Sam Darnold around. They won the game with Sam Darnold throwing for 800 yards. What are we doing here? What is the world? As much as we talk about that with the Seattle defense, that isn't what happened in this game. That wasn't it. I've been saying, hey, man, ain't no get out of here with this Matthew Stafford going to the Hall of Fame situation if he lose a game to Sam Darnold. But I can't even really fully go full-throated about that one because he threw for 800 yards too.
Right.
And they're going. They're going. I just want to say this right fast because I don't want to seem like I'm insulting guys, and I don't want to really do this during Super Bowl week because it's not fair. But I'm trying to think how far back we got to go to get a quarterback matchup, quite like the one that we're going to have in this Super Bowl. And it's interesting because Drake Maye, 2 guys that were number 3 pick in the draft, Drake Maye may ultimately be that guy. Sam Darnold turned out not to be that guy, but is proven to be a guy who has actually not been that good for the last month and change, but suddenly it all got dialed up in the course of this game. And here we are, 2026. There we go. I want to call Cortez and tell him Happy New Year again, just to do it after that situation. Hey, man, I have to say, that was an excellent football game with the Rams and the Seahawks. It's one of those where I don't even feel like analyzing it really, gets down to the point. Or it only matters, but so much, I guess, is the way to look at it. I found myself as I was watching it being less man, I got to think about what we going to talk about tomorrow. Then I felt in the course of watching it damn, man, this is fun. This is what you want. This is one of those where you almost wish, well, I don't know if that's a fair way to put it. I was just going to say, this is certainly a rivalry of sorts, I imagine, to the people who really care about these teams. And then that even gets to be a little bit weird because of the Rams and their relocation. But if this were a traditional rivalry, Ryan, can you imagine if this was the Falcons and the Saints having this kind of game? Now, of course, the Falcons and the Saints would never play each other this late in the year.
Late in the year with this good a quarterback play on both sides.
It would never happen.
Yeah.
Understand this. I don't know if you even realize this. In the year 1991, the Saints and the Falcons played against each other in the wild card round of the playoffs at the Superdome. And the Falcons won that game, and the winner was going to rack up their first playoff win ever. 2 teams that have been in the league for 25 fucking years. And the only way one of them could win a playoff game was to play the other.
Which A-Bear, where was A-Bear playing at the time?
That was A-Bear.
but for who?
Bobby Hebert was playing for the Saints.
Gotcha.
Chris Miller, I believe, was the starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Yeah.
Yes. No, Hebert got there shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
I saw Bobby Hebert throw 6 interceptions against the Oilers. 6 interceptions. But Seattle, when you can win, when your main unit ain't really doing the thing you're doing, you have got a team. And they're one of those teams that just where you watch them and you're like, oh, they look well coached. You know what I mean? Everybody seems to be where they're supposed to be. The one time they didn't seem well coached, it seems very clear to me, Ryan, that boy Reek Woolen be doing dumb shit all the time. And the way that I know that is, look, I ain't gonna lie, man. And, y'all will understand what I'm saying if you get a little bit mad. I thought that was some real Caucasian officiating when they hit him for that 15 yards for, like, taunting the sideline. Like, he wasn't over there grabbing his jewels, mooning them, even imaginary mooning
whatever
them.
He said had to have been particularly egregious.
Well, it seemed like the ref told him to stop, and then he kept on going.
Then that's very Caucasian officiating.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I felt
you tested that man's authority.
Whatever happened to let him play, right? Y'all always get out here talking about this let him play situation. Now, I'm inclined to cut that man some slack, and I know this ain't going to mean a whole lot to y'all, but that's a Fort Worth decision-making that he was engaging in right there. And he from Fort Worth. Like, that's Funky Town don't think stuff all the way through, right? Like, it just doesn't work like that. But when he got to the sideline and that other cat was like getting on him about it, like I just realized, he must do.
He does this all the time.
Like this all the time, right?
I told you not to be doing stuff like that.
Yes, I would also love to see what Reek Woolen's draft profile was. He is a 6'4" corner who ran a 4.26 at the combine and was drafted in the 5th round. What was he doing in those interviews? What was he saying to those people to where they were like, I don't know.
Maybe we'll get him another day.
No, but I tell you this. That is definitely a guy Pete Carroll drafts.
Yes.
Pete Carroll's like, we'll
figure it out. 6'4"? Yeah.
6'4" corners are unwieldy because it's a lot of like small space maneuvering. But at the same time, 6'4" run a 4.26.
Yeah. We can figure something out.
We can see what this is. But okay, how much? I mean, we'll have 2 weeks to talk about this. How much Sam Darnold are we about to be out here believing? And if Sam Darnold and the Seahawks win the Super Bowl together, how long before somebody tells me that he belongs in the Hall of Fame? Just throwing it out there, just asking the question. We just out here. It's harder than ever to get in the Hall of Fame, and we just out here like that's
putting everybody in.
Yeah, but that's afraid we got to retire. Like the future Hall of Famer, we gonna need to know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's not just about Stafford. Now, look, if you guys want to put Stafford in the Hall of Fame, I'm kind of giving up on the idea. Although I'm still holding strong on Eli Manning. Y'all seem to at least be putting up a fight about that madness. But I already forgot what I was gonna say right fast. Don't you hate it when that happens? Like I'm still mad. I was just telling Brian, man, I had a line that was so cold, and I ain't want to hit him with it last night because I ain't want to ruin it when I said it this morning, and I acted like I am not 45 years old, and I woke up, and that it's never coming back.
It's gone.
And I'm telling you, you were gonna be in the floor. It was first class, amazing work, and poof,
gone.
Now it's gone. But I do think, though, and by the way, for those of you who are wondering, gee, why aren't you talking about the AFC Championship game for what? What is there to talk about? Like dead ass. What is there for us to talk about other than the fact of we ain't, you know what? This is what there is to talk about when it comes to that game. There are some lies that people have to tell. I'm an adult. I recognize this. Sean Payton had to lie to us about Jarrett Stidham. You'll see. Just watch. I did. And those were 3 terrible hours. Okay? He's a backup quarterback. You know, if I put it to you like this, where they were just like, Sean Payton believed in him. No, he didn't. You know how I know he didn't believe in him? Because he drafted Bo Nix. You know what I'm saying? He went out there and drafted a quarterback about his age. I'm just saying.
Auburn teammates.
Right. That all of us were, of whom all of us were wildly skeptical.
Yeah.
Right? And he was out there like, yeah. Let me go ahead and get me a real quarterback. And he went and got Bo Nix, right? So Stidham was out there. I felt so bad. He was suffering from full offset lemon booty that first drive. And as soon as I sent a tweet about it, he threw that one pass. And then after that, they were done. They had that situation. I have only really recalled seeing this in golf, where at the turn of the weather changes, Where like half the people play around under one set of conditions and then the other half play it under another. And that's what the second half was in that game. I mean, it was at the point where Vrabel was calling just throw it away plays.
Right. The only thing that gets you beat is Drake Maye taking a dumb sack. That's and fumbling. And he called the whole game avoiding that outcome.
And by the way, those two outcomes were totally on the board.
Yes.
Totally on the board. And I want to say this to Drake Maye right now, okay? Sam Darnold has officially exceeded every expectation that we had after we recalibrated from our priors, right? I think Bayesian is the term that we're looking for, right? We had our priors. We adjusted our priors.
Is it Bayesian or Keynesian?
These are Bayesian.
Yes.
Keynesian is when you start talking about like macroeconomic stuff, right? Yeah. Bayesian is the probability things, okay?
Yes.
Bayesian, like we made the adjustment to the priors. Sam Darnold is good money forever. There's nothing else he has to do. He exceeded our expectations 2 years in a row. There's nothing he has to do, okay? He's who he is. Drake Maye, I'll tell you this right now. If you win this Super Bowl, and we know quarterbacks don't win games, you non-clicking motherfuckers, okay? Just so we don't have no misunderstanding there. Quarterbacks don't win games. But if Drake Maye is the quarterback of the winning team under these circumstances, you are good, okay? It will make your career so much easier. I think Drake Maye is very talented. I think the ceiling is very high. Do I think Drake Maye will be better than Josh Allen? Nope. Do I think that he will be better than Lamar Jackson? Nope. But we about to be on them boys' necks from here into forever because we're about to watch either Drake Maye or Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl, and those guys haven't even been there. They ain't even touched the grass in the Super Bowl. Drake Maye gets this one, brother, you straight. You straight. And you're not like Dan Marino. Dan Marino got there in his second year, but he had to go against literally one of the greatest football teams of all time, the 1984 49ers. And when you think about the 49ers, all you need to know about 84 was the defense was probably better than the offense. Okay, right? Everything you ever heard about the 49ers, and that's not saying the offense was overrated. The defense, Ryan, they had 3 Pro Bowlers in the secondary.
Jesus.
Yeah. Like, what you go? What
are you doing?
What are we talking about here? All right, Dan Marino never. Drake Maye, you go ahead and do this right now. Honestly, you could. If you win this right now and you keep playing, I'm gonna be looking at you like I look at Klay Thompson. Like, dude, why are you still here, brother? If I was Klay Thompson, I wouldn't even know. Like, there would be some games I would miss because I forgot. I'd be like, damn, we got a game tonight?
Which no one would be surprised by because it's Klay Thompson.
Because it's Klay Thompson and the Mavericks. Like, why would you keep up with the Mavericks schedule, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I was Klay Thompson, it would be some games where I'd be like, damn, we got a game tomorrow. All right, but hold on, man. Let me call my girl. No, man, I got to see. We got plans tomorrow, man. Let me see if she can change them. I mean, look, if we can change our plans, I'll come. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise, like Drake Maye with a Super Bowl, hey, man, all we going to do is like, you've accomplished it all. This also sucks because, Ryan, we have the worst combination of things. The obnoxious Boston fan, they back in the game because the Patriots are back where they were, and they also have a legitimate underdog, feel-good story sort of element of it. And
they can legitimately say no one believes in us.
Because I sure didn't.
I sure don't.
I sure didn't. I sure don't. Now, I want to be fair to Maye, though, in the sense that he's played 2 games in terrible weather.
Right.
I would say that he has looked terrible. I have not felt good about the way that he has played, but there's stories around it. Now, the issue for that Super Bowl and what we're going to talk about for a couple of weeks is that guy against an excellent defense.
Yes.
Based on what we've seen so far in the postseason. We're asking for a lot here. On the other side is going to be Sam Darnold playing against an NFL defense in a game that really matters. Could go either way, right? This could be it. But I'm going to give it to the NFL, man. Y'all gave us a great postseason so far. You did. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed all of this, everything that we've gotten. I think that this has been a great, like, exhibition of football, which is very important because what we don't have is great teams. And I know, what was it? I remember Shot said it was like the best DVOA NFC Championship game of all time or something like that.
Yeah, so someone's going to have to break that down like a fraction for me because I did not.
I never once watched, and I feel like I've watched a decent bit of these 2 teams play.
Right.
Never quite saw it. right?
Yeah.
Never quite saw it. You gotta. I don't know if we feel
obviously like giant peaks on
Yes.
both sides, but not. You couldn't keep the consistency.
No.
Throughout the year.
Well, let me ask you this about Denver. Do you think the outcome would have been different if Bo Nix had played? And my answer is I'm not sure.
I'm not sure because the weather was so drastic.
Right. Because here's what worries me. Almost it did something sacrilegious. Bo Nix.
You didn't do it. You got close. You were rounding second.
They both went to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? They both went to Auburn. Bo Nix would get out there and still think, I can do something.
Right.
I can make this happen. And look, they got, touchdown in the first half, right?
Right.
That was the reasonable expectation, was that you could get a touchdown in the first half. They got the touchdown in the first half. But I don't know. I came out of that. It's so interesting. I came out of that with, wow, that one game was so good. I don't even really feel the need to talk about it. And then I came out of it with, that other game was so bad. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't want any parts of it. And now, Ryan, it's a long 2 weeks.
Correct.
It's a really, really long 2 weeks that is coming. My favorite thing of the long 2 weeks is the NBA. I don't know if it just worked out accidentally, but that trade deadline being right during Super Bowl week has come in handy the last.
Helps out.
Yeah, look, it was one thing with Super Bowl stuff when we didn't have as much media and as much space to fill. In that week of Super Bowl, like the media day and everything else, like you'd go to your whole job, then you come back and be like, ooh, Super Bowl stuff. And it would be this treat the whole week that you would get to. But now that we are always online.
We're always talking about football.
We ain't got enough stuff. We already know who all these people are. We are fully loaded up and aware of who all these people are. So by the time that week comes, we're just like, yo, man, we're a little tapped out, man. Can we just can we get to the game? Can we get this? Now, if you want to tell me that Marshawn Lynch going to post up with Ginger Cuz and they're going to do a daily briefing.
Yeah, we're here.
I'll watch that. I'm 100% here for that. Otherwise, let us be glad for the great football that we have had so far and cross our fingers that the rest will be decent. All right, so, I feel like all of us got kind of caught up in small sample stuff over the last couple weeks or whatever. And what I mean by that is the Pittsburgh Steelers have only hired 3 coaches since 1969, okay? Those 3 coaches bore similar characteristics. They were young coaches who were in their first jobs, who were defensive guys. They all ultimately wound up being coaches who won Super Bowls. So as a result, we all thought that when the Steelers hired a head coach, that it would be a defensive guy in his 30s who never had a job before. But all I can assume is that we were operating off of small samples, right? Like this wasn't quite like the Raiders after they let John Madden go. They didn't let him go. John Madden left. But after John Madden left, every coach that Al Davis hired was a young offensive guy. And the reason was, mostly young. Either way, they're all offensive guys. And the reason was Al Davis ran his own defense, right? He didn't need a defensive coordinator. He just needed an offensive coordinator and then somebody to call plays on Sunday, right? But we had enough times that he had changed over coaches that we understood that right there was the pattern. Okay. Nope, the Steelers apparently just hired 3 coaches because everything that we thought we knew about them, they took it and they wiped their sooty keister with it because they went and hired Mike McCarthy to be their head coach. And I think that we are typically a little bit too hard on Mike McCarthy, and I have explained in the past why I think it is that y'all are so hard on Mike McCarthy, and it's because he's chubby. Right? Like the rules get all messed up when chubby people come out here. Y'all know how y'all treat chubby people. And if you don't want to believe me, go ask a chubby person. They will tell you how they get treated. But there's a way in which people don't take Super Bowl champion Mike McCarthy seriously that I think is tied to his weight. Ryan, you sent me the joint with the numbers where he basically, it's kind of like he got the same track record as John Harbaugh.
I mean, him Tomlin and John Harbaugh are kind of Spider-Man each other.
Yes.
With the exact same resume. Now, obviously, I would not say the same level of coach, but the same level of resume.
Yeah. But when you look at it, it's very, very,
it's
very
about
similar.
170 wins. It's one Super Bowl and not a lot of playoff wins since the first Trump presidency.
Right. And when he got this job, McCarthy, when he got this job at the Cowboys, we're like, what in the world were they doing? And by the way, they were just fine. Right? The problem was not Mike McCarthy. Now, there were some problems that you could say you have with his offense, but the problem was not Mike McCarthy. We are all a little bit too down on him. However, let me tell you what I have never seen Mike McCarthy do. I have never seen Mike McCarthy coach a quarterback who was less than very good, or dare I say excellent. Okay? He got a version of Brett Favre that was still pretty good. He got Aaron Rodgers when he, at least regular season-wise, was as good as any quarterback we have seen, just in terms of the pure execution of playing football. He was as good as anybody that we had ever seen, right? Remove team success from it, everything else. Just like, wow, I can't believe how good this guy is. And then Dak Prescott, who's probably like, I would say that Dak Prescott's not going to make the Hall of Fame, but shit, after what happened with Stafford.
All he needs is one trade to the right guy.
That's right. Stick around long enough, he keeps getting better.
Yeah.
You still have a chance, buddy. But the bottom line is, if the worst quarterback that Mike McCarthy ever coached was Dak Prescott, he's been living good.
Right.
Okay? Who the hell is going to play quarterback for the Steelers next year? Because I feel pretty confident that that's not going to bring Aaron Rodgers back.
I mean, I can't imagine a world, even if Aaron Rodgers does come back.
Correct. That's not what you want.
Right. Like that. If that's your best option, you don't have a lot of good options.
Yeah. So what are they doing? They hired a coach who is in his early mid 60s, right? Who was 63, Ryan?
Turned 63 next season.
All right, he turned 63. They're not starting over, right? They're not a rebuild sort of team. Let me tell you something that's wild. Up until that Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, where they traded away first round pick to get him, they had a run for decades of every year making one first round pick. Never two, never zero. One first round pick. Right? Like they have operated very much so on a process sort of thing. They don't believe in tearing it down. I understand if you don't believe in tearing it down, that's fine. My question is, what the hell do you think this team is that you have right now? And if your goal is, or your game is, we are going to stay competitive with the roster that we have, and then you add Mike McCarthy, it is implying to me that even though Mike Tomlin left of his own volition, you kind of think he was the problem.
Right.
Because, I mean, clearly, you guys don't mind changing what you've done in the past, or what is that small sample thing again? Because you just hired Mike McCarthy, right? You are clearly not wedded to everything you had done before. There have been articles that have come out that are implying that the Steelers are in a place that a lot of college programs get to. North Carolina basketball is one I could think of around the Matt Doherty era, where you look up at what you got's a little bit stale, right? And you'd always been able to get by on whatever the name was and all of this, but then you look up and everybody else is doing all these things, and you've been so wedded to what you're doing because everybody talks about what it is that you do, and then you look up and it's like, oh, snap, man, we need to get some other things going, right? That is what has kind of been implied in reporting that we're seeing around the Steelers right now. I just don't see how Mike McCarthy makes anything better, and I feel like if he ain't making it better, he's making it worse.
To me, when you were talking about college football there, I thought you were going to get to the point where it seems that all politics is local, and there's a lot of reporting going around that part of the reason Mike McCarthy is getting this job
because he's from Pittsburgh.
He's from Pittsburgh. It's certainly not. It's not a factor.
Yeah, but what the hell? If that's what they're doing, is that can't be all it takes, right? I mean, they're going to hire what's his name, Dave Wanstead. All right, like under these
I'm sure his name's been pitched.
And I know this. I was just looking at ESPN.com, and Ryan, I don't know if you've seen this, but the headline is Rooney fans, Steelers, quote, excited about Mike McCarthy. And Mike McCarthy is many things, but he's not exciting. Even if you think he's effective, even if you think he's the right man for the job, he is not excited. Listen to this. We're not worried about winning the initial press conference. See, that's when you know You know ain't nobody trying to hear this shit, man. And look, courage to them. Like, when you know you're making a call that people aren't going to like, but you're going to do it anyway, hey, there's a certain level of G that I suppose you have to have in you in doing that. Just none of us understand what, like, Mike, I feel bad for McCarthy in the sense that he can't answer the questions. You know what I mean? Like, the questions we have about this decision are not questions that he can answer by telling us about what the scheme is going to be or telling us what the staff is going to be. What we don't understand this.
Yeah, everything about this hire, we talked about it being one of the best jobs available because you were going to get a long runway. You were going to be able to grow into the job because we assumed they would hire someone in their late 30s, early 40s. And now they've hired someone just the most retread of all retreads.
Yes.
Like someone who's coached, again, lots of experience for probably the two of the other glamour franchises in the NFL. But like if you pushed Mike Tomlin out because he couldn't get over the hump.
Right.
And so you bring in Mike McCarthy. I just don't understand the logic.
Well, here's the problem, or where I think this will be interesting, is because of his age, you don't really have the option of patience. I don't think. Like, you can sell patience with your 35-year-old guy, and you're like, hey, we gave him a 5-year contract, and we're going to, like, we've made this decision right here and now that this is a 5-year play, and we're going to, see where it goes.
Especially with the Steelers, who have one of the oldest rosters in the NFL.
Right. Like, you could get up there and say, hey, look, we're going to see how this goes. You know how we do things. You can't do that with a guy that's 60-something years old. Nobody's trying to hear about the time that you're willing to give him or the time that you're going to afford him. Nobody wants to hear this. So I wish I had an answer for what exactly it is that they're going to do from here. Nobody, I don't think anybody has the answer for what it is that they are going to do. It is not exciting. They said that, the Steelers said that they're excited. Somebody has to be. Nobody else is excited about this move. Also, Ryan, did they look at the rest of these coaches and just be like, it ain't really hitting?
Right. I mean, I would rather have Robert Saleh than.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What a weird cycle where Saleh takes the Titans job.
Right.
Because here's one thing I do know that Saleh's going to do. Saleh's going to bring in some form of the Shanahan offense, right?
Right. He's going to go find some
32-year-old guy.
There's always another Kubiak.
Yes.
Like Chris.
They're all over the place.
Chris Kubiak, or, whatever.
Yeah, K-R-I-S.
Exactly.
K-R-I-S
Whatever. Yeah. Clay Kubiak.
Killer Coobs, right? Like, one of them is going to be there. It's so funny. You've seen this thing with Con Knippel, where Con Knippel and all the Knippels have names that start with K, and the question immediately was, what's your middle name?
Of course.
I haven't seen anybody ask this about these Kubiaks, and I'm going to find out right now. Like, I hope that there is a level of self-awareness about what Alexander Kubiak. I would
go by Alex.
Yeah, I recall having a teacher whose initials were a K, and then a K, and then a K.
Gotta change your name. You gotta mix.
Well, now you do. I'm not sure if then you had to, right? I don't have.
But that option is always available.
It's always on the board, man. It's always on the board, right? Like, you could. There's lots of ways.
Baby. People change their name every day.
There's lots of ways to change your name. You ain't even got to go Muslim. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got to get it on your official paperwork. Yeah. But you got sometimes you gotta make an adjustment. Speaking of needing to make an adjustment, they're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm intrigued also by these guys like Mike McDaniel did this, Brian Flores did this, where they jumped on the bird in the hand of these assistant jobs. But the rule is you can't stop somebody from interviewing for a head job,
right?
If they are an assistant coach. So McDaniel's got that job with Harbaugh. Flores apparently is staying with Minnesota, which surprised me for a couple of reasons. But they're also still kind of out there interviewing for jobs. Now, look, man, I don't think nobody giving Brian Flores no job. The Steelers knew him.
Yeah.
And they said, no
thank you.
All right, for whatever it's worth, right? They said, no, thank you. This is a weird market. I think that's the only way that I can really say it.
We haven't even gotten to on Friday, the Bills interviewed Phillip Rivers.
Holy shit, I forgot about that already. Guys, in case you did not know this truly happened. On Friday, the Bills interviewed Phillip Rivers. And it was so funny because you sent me a text about it, and you had made mention of the point that also Josh Allen was going to be sitting in on interviews. And I'm like, I can't believe anybody cares about that right now. He's going to sit in on an interview. Yeah, and Phillip Rivers is going to be the one that's making the presentation. What? I'm also trying to imagine Phillip Rivers because he's not he's a high school coach, but he ain't been a coach like this. Is he on ChatGPT right now, cooking up his PowerPoints and cranking out who the staff is going to be? Whose idea was this? Did they call him? Did he call them?
I would rather have Phillip Rivers than Mike McCarthy.
I see the point. I see the argument. I don't know what's.
I don't know if it's a good. That's personal preference.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know any of what's going on here. I do know. I do want to say this though about the Josh Allen sitting in on. I don't see that didn't move me at all, right? I guess this is not really commonplace in the NFL. I wonder if this also happened because Bisciotti in Baltimore, where he said, Lamar, if you wanted to have a say-so about who the coach was, then why don't you get on the plane with me? We come up here and we do these interviews, right? And maybe Josh Allen was like, yeah.
They were also interviewing people in Florida, so you might have just been avoiding, Buffalo this time of year.
No, could be, right? But I think we all need to be honest about the level of power that Josh Allen has with this team. And even if he's not in the interviews, they're not hiring a coach without Josh Allen being like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Right? This is not Jerry Jones hiring Barry Switzer and then telling Troy Aikman about it, right?
Yeah.
No. This decision was always going to involve Josh Allen in a way prominent enough that didn't get me. It's hey, Phillip Rivers did a good job playing as an old man. Why don't we make him a coach? I hear he's doing a good job coaching at a private school in Alabama. What? And see, and this is the thing, man. If they'll invite him to interview, it's a good chance he'll get the job. Because clearly they're crazy.
You do not call Phillip Rivers unless you're actually considering it.
Right. Somebody's like, we'll see. I tell you this. I wish I could get into group chat with some of the brothers in the Fritz Pollard Alliance. I'd love to know what they thought when the Phillip Rivers email came through. Like, what are you saying? Like, it was funny when Jeff Saturday got the job with the Colts a couple years ago. And I know Jeff, and I like Jeff a lot. It was so crazy that they gave him the job that I didn't even have time to get around to a Rooney Rule discussion because the white boys had room to be just as mad as everybody else. Like, everybody was like, yo, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like he on TV right now. What are you talking about?
You had to get off the first take, second set, and get on a private plane to Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's why it's actually so funny. I'm talking about the brothers being mad about this with Phillip Rivers. Again, the white boys is up in arms. Joe Brady's got to be like, you can't be fucking serious. I've been up here freezing my ass off for years. I got the big galoot under control. And now you go with what? He don't even got his own whistle. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to place your bets before the NFL season closes its tab. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're in on it. If you're a new customer, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite or riding with the underdog, make it count. Because after the Super Bowl, the season's over, and football is officially done. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com/Bomani to get started.
21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kansas, Wyoming. Opt-in requirement. Awards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. terms at sportsduel.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
We cover a lot of trends on this show, and over the last few months, everyone has been talking about AI. But let's face it, talking about trends doesn't help you be more efficient at work. For that, you need the right tools. You need Zapier. Zapier is how you break the hype cycle and put AI to work for real. Teams use Zapier to streamline their RevOps, marketing, sales, IT, HR, and more. In fact, 3.4 million companies are already automating with Zapier. Zapier means you and your team can actually reap the benefits of AI, not just talk about it. With Zapier's AI orchestration platform, you can bring the power of AI to your work. Connect top AI models like ChatGPT and Claude to the apps your team already uses so you can add AI exactly where you need it. Or something else. You can do it with Zapier. Zapier is for everyone, tech expert or not. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, no AI hype, just results. Teams have already automated over 300 million AI tasks using Zapier. Join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting Zapier.com/Bomani. That's ZAPIER.com/Bomani.
All right, Bo. Speaking of coaches, a couple college coaches got themselves in trouble over the weekend. Deion Sanders announced he'll be fining players for the following 8 rule violations at school: late to practice, $500; no-show practice, $2,500; late to treatment, $1,000; no-show to a meeting or film session, $2,000, amongst others. Bo, what was your reaction to this?
All right, so Penny Hardaway apparently also came around to instituting fines.
And that Memphis. Went great.
And back, yeah, right. And so, well, we're in this ambiguous situation of, is this the pros? And the issue is this, and this is where I imagine it drives a guy like Deion crazy. They are being paid like professionals, but they are still teenagers, right?
Correct.
Or in that zone. They are not, even if they're professional, they're not pros.
And they're still 19.
Yeah, they're not pros.
Right.
Like they're not going to comport themselves as pros. And Deion sees himself as running a pro program. Like, did you see the clip talking about like him and recruiting cornerbacks? And he's like, he doesn't recruit 5'11" cornerbacks because he doesn't see 5'11" cornerbacks playing in the NFL. And that would matter a lot if he was recruiting for an NFL team, right? But they're not. They're
or
Colorado.
If he was, at Alabama.
Yeah. Like you don't. I don't think that he has that luxury. And even if your game plan is I'm building an NFL like style program, yeah, but you can't afford to make those kinds of decisions. And maybe this is the kind of thing that happens when you're in the NFL. I have 2 questions. Question number 1, if they don't pay, then what? Right? Question number 2, where's the money going? Because normally when you got these kind of fines and stuff like this, it's like kangaroo court type of stuff, right? Like you put it in a pot.
Like a swear jar for a company party or something?
No, but you like put it in a pot and then you like throw a party at the end of the year or something like that with the money that people put into this. Man, he's got $2,500 fines in here, $2,000 fines. And look, man, these are kids. I don't care how much money you paying them. Some of them is broke right now. And you're like, well, I guess you can't afford to be late to practice. Well, then they late to practice, Deion. What you about to do? Right? What are you? I don't know. I get where he's coming from, I guess is the part that
I get the logic.
Yeah. I don't want to pretend like I don't really understand it. And what I don't have a great handle on is what kind of money the guys at the end of the roster are making on this team. Because Colorado's not a school that has a whole lot of money to give guys. Like their 5-star left tackle they recruited a couple years ago is leaving, and I'm sure it's because Colorado just doesn't have the money to keep him. But I don't think this is going to go the way that he thinks it's going to go. Or this leads me to another question. Do you have this much of a problem with getting guys to come to stuff? Like, have these guys been skipping out on you? Have they not been showing up to treatment? Like, is this something that's been going on that we don't know about? Because I feel like you should be able to take care of this with old-fashioned steps. Like, steps. Gassers. You know what I'm saying? Vicious workouts in the heat.
Get out and run that stadium.
Yeah. Like, when did that stuff stop working? And now you got to get them to pay $2,500.
I don't know anyone, no matter how much money they have, who wants to give up $2,500.
No. Nobody. I just don't. I can't believe that he thinks it needed to come to this.
Right.
Like that to me does not speak well of your capacity as a leader if you have to kind of sort of bribe them to do what they're supposed to do at this point in their lives. But also, I've never had to try to tell a rich 18-year-old what to do.
Yeah, I do not. I do not want to be the disciplinarian for a bunch of millionaire 18-year-olds either.
This is the problem with this whole new setup, and I don't know how many people are gonna say it out loud, but I'll be the one to say it. Nobody likes rich teenagers. Nobody does. No, like not a soul likes a teenager with more money than them, and that's all these little people are. Is 85 of 8 for most people? It's 85 of them, right? Like Joel tells a story, and he's told this in public, so I have no problem repeating it. When he was covering preps, is in Dallas, and he did something where he interviewed Chris Bosh. And after they got done with the interview, they walk out to the parking lot, and Chris Bosh got into an Explorer. I think it was a new Explorer. And I don't remember what kind of car Joel was driving. But all you need to know is that after watching Chris Bosh get in his Explorer and Joel get in his Hatermobile, he immediately went to go purchase a new car because he could not be stunted on by the 17-year-old in this manner.
I can imagine what Joel was making as a
preps reporter,
preps newspaper. I know. It was the
2001.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is this: all of these kids is doing that to just about all of us. And what I mean us, I mean y'all. Yeah. But this is kind of what it is.
All right. Speaking of college coaches, Lane Kiffin got himself in trouble tweeting out a picture of 2 Make Baton Rouge Great hats and then tagging the president. Bo, Lane Kiffin, are you surprised?
That's your guy. It's your guy. And the thing with Lane is, I have a hard time believing that Lane believes in Trump because I have a hard time believing Lane believes in anything. Like, I can't. Everything with him is so random, and he's such a troll that who knows, right? It doesn't, in some ways, it doesn't matter if he believes this or not, okay? Read the room, man. Are you watching TV right now? Like, are you people? Come on, man. You can't be doing this. Like, this is not. I don't know. This doesn't seem worth the squeeze. And he deleted it, and then he sent it out. He sent it out because it was linked to Trump's official account, and then he deleted that and then sent it back out without a link to Trump.
Correct.
Right. And look, for all we know, he just came across these hats on the street. Somebody was selling them. I have no idea. My thing is, if I was one of them LSU people, what my problem with him would be was the hat didn't say Make Baton Rouge Great Again. It just said Make Baton Rouge Great, to which I would respond, what you trying to say, bruh? You just got here. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you, I had one of the best weekends of my life in Baton Rouge on a whole $20. I know people have their criticisms of it, but you do Baton Rouge right, you can have a really good time. Please note, though, I was 20.
I also had a great time in Baton Rouge. I was 20 years old.
Yeah, he said make it great, but not even great again. He's like, yo, y'all need to step y'all shit up. That's what he said, and I just don't feel like you can walk in the door talking like that.
Lane Kiffin, living by the tweet and dying by the tweet, will end exactly how we think it all will.
Look, man, you guys went from one kind of impossible-to-like coach to a different archetype of impossible-to-like coach, but still suffering from the same broad affliction.
All right. And in a little bit more serious news, ICE has killed another protester in Minneapolis. Protests have gone throughout the weekend. An NBA game was postponed. Bo, what were your thoughts on the situation?
So I'm not in the habit of watching people get shot. Like I've opted out of that. Enough people have described to me what happened in that video that I don't know if I have anything novel or of particular interest to say about it. It is noteworthy how flagrant these actions have become, right? I think brazen is probably the word. The cockamamie explanations that come on the back end, the fact that these acts happen in the first place, full on awareness that when they're going on, there's cameras there. And so it makes you feel like they're not even doing this on the standpoint of, I hope nobody sees it. Like, you got to feel like they want somebody to see it at this point. Like this is, I don't know if it's we're sending a message, whatever it is. I don't know. What I thought about in seeing this, and Ryan and I kind of bounced some ideas off each other over the weekend. And right before we got on to do this, we both saw that the National Basketball Players Association had sent a tweet a statement via a tweet. And it says, following the news of yet another fatal shooting in Minneapolis, a city that has been on the forefront of the fight against injustices, NBA players can no longer remain silent. Now more than ever, we must defend the right of freedom of speech and stand in solidarity with the people in Minnesota protesting and risking their lives to demand justice. The fraternity of NBA players, like the United States itself, is a community enriched by its global citizens, and we refuse to let the flames of division threaten the civil liberties that are meant to protect us all. The NBPA and its members extend our deepest condolences to the families of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, just as our thoughts remain focused on the safety and well-being of all members of our community. Ryan, and let me know if I'm off here in a way, but I feel like I was personally glad to see that the NBPA made a statement, but kind of felt like word salad.
It is not the tenor that these statements used to be.
Yeah, well, I'll put it to you like this. The line that NBA players can no longer remain silent. This is just me giving them some game here. That statement doesn't make noise. You understand what I'm saying? It might not be silent, right? You may have said something, but it doesn't make noise. Putting actual voice and actual names to things is what makes noise. Now, who knows? Things may change in between the time that I have recorded this and the time you see this, right? There may be some campaign and people doing all the stuff on the internet and putting out their pictures and statements individually as players or whatever it is. But I know 14 years ago, almost 14 years ago exactly, Trayvon Martin was killed. I think that was on February 26, 2012. We saw what to me felt like one of the most moving and captivating things that we had seen from athletes in my lifetime is when the Heat put out that picture with them with the hoodies up. It was a bold statement in that moment of solidarity with the people, right? Capital T, capital P, the people. We saw a continuation really from years into the Mike Brown situation in Ferguson. And it really goes all the way through 2020 with George Floyd, where there was a very visible face. I mean, obviously Colin Kaepernick in between there. My bad. Almost missed that one. The players, their faces and their voices were very clear and resonant when these things were happening in the world. The first term of the Trump administration, you saw and heard a lot from players kind of pushing back on what was going on there. Now, for what it's worth, these times are different. I've gotten on here and talked about how it doesn't feel nearly as safe to say what it is that you believe or you feel. Like when that Kimmel thing happened with Trump or whatever, it doesn't feel as easy as it used to be to talk about these things. But it is, to me, quite noteworthy that the tenor and the sound of athletes is much different than it was before. But the truth is, that is not something I blame them for. The tenor of the athlete is different because the tenor of the people is different. The tenor of the times is different. And I have long felt that many have in times like these, looked to athletes, it felt as though athletes had a responsibility to speak so that they could be heard because people would listen to them in times where they would not listen to other people. But the truth is, the behavior of athletes in these times has actually typically been reactive and reflective of the larger society rather than at the vanguard of that society. And that's not to say that there are not people who are speaking up against what is going on now with ICE, but the noise doesn't feel the same. With all that said, though, I guess I am a little surprised that it ain't like one or two people or somebody that's just super duper loud about what this is. Like, it feels like there was years and years and work and effort to just change the tenor of conversation in sport that discussed the larger world. Like when I worked at ESPN, and I worked at ESPN in various capacities, really for about 20 years. I never once had anybody encourage me not to talk about something. Even the thing I had happen with that T-shirt that one time. They had some shit to say when I wasn't around, but nobody ever said anything to me. Really. You know, like, I never, like, this idea that they would just go come and shut everybody down, that was something I never felt when I was there. And I generally felt like as long as I was saying, what I was saying was true and I could support it with some evidentiary basis, that I would ultimately wind up being okay. After we got, like, into the Trump administration, Kaepernick took a knee in 2016. 2017 is when it kind of hit the fan because Trump called them boys sons of bitches and everything went kind of haywire. We didn't talk as much about the things that were happening in the world, but I also felt like the discussion in the larger news zeitgeist was not there. Like, I felt like if the topics of the world moved back into those places, then the discussion in and around sport would also move to around those places, in part because the athletes would talk about them, and then we would wind up going there. And that hasn't happened. Like, the world's on fire, right? I think we all generally agree with that. The world is on fire, okay?
And it seems to be getting worse, not better.
Right, and we've done a full year of Trump's return, and it's come with a whole lot of stuff, right? Do you feel like you've heard the voice of the athlete in this? Because I do not. I just don't. And look, they got their reasons. I'm not as loud about a lot of these things as I used to be. For me, it is in large part because I have gotten older and I felt like the means and mechanisms that I use to talk about things, largely social media, stopped being effective. Like, I gave up on the entirety of that experiment as a way to say serious things, right? I could do more, or I'm inclined to do more now with this show and this point and this times. Like, I'm rounding into a different kind of shape about these things because it's coming up to one of the few times where I didn't feel for a long time like there was much that I needed to say that wasn't obvious, right? It was all so transparent. So, like, why am I there? Young people, though, they typically operate in a different space. You know what I mean? They tend to be a little bit more gangster wild with what they do, and they just feel the need to be heard. And it don't feel like any of them really feel the need to be heard right now. Like, LeBron got in trouble, not really trouble, but he did something incredibly stupid and tone deaf. And I mentioned it kind of vaguely the other day on the show, but his people, him and Nike, put out a shoe in honor of Martin Luther King that's kind of like this, like, Motel Green, like 60s Motel Green, like the Lorraine Motel Green, which is to say that they thought the way to honor Martin Luther King was a shoe that was inspired by the hotel that he got shot at. They thought that some James Air Rays were the way to pay tribute to Martin Luther King, which is ridiculous, right? There's a zillion people that you can blame for this. Fine. What I would stop and make note of is that if you want to honor Martin Luther King by trying to find a way to sell us a colorway, I'd kind of like to know what you think about this stuff, right? And the reason I would say that about him is because we've seen him do it before. We've seen him be at the forefront of these things, right? And in 2020, remember when he was in the bubble with, like, the Leader to Society shirt and all of that, right? I'm not saying this in an accusatory fashion. I'm very curious as to why we hear less from him now. Like, I would love to know. And look, this isn't just about the NBA players because it's unfair. Like, hey, man, these white folks is out here getting smoked in the streets, right? Like, this isn't necessarily, and I think it's somewhat telling that it's white people getting smoked in the streets and it's still the basketball players that are ones that are standing up and putting out this statement as much as that is standing up, right? I want to know from a whole lot of these guys, right? White people typically get to slack and they don't have to answer for what's going on with the world and all of this stuff, right? So I don't want to reinforce the idea that this is a black responsibility, but people who I heard truly not that long ago be vocal and visible, I would love to know why they aren't right now. Are we simply, as a society, exhausted? Right? Did COVID and George Floyd, like, really get the last out of us in terms of a certain sort of collective action when it comes to these things, right? But it's different. And I think that all of us could stand to ask ourselves why it's different. And not just for them, but in some ways, why is it different from us? One point somebody made to me that I thought was good, my man Jason, is just kind of, as social media has turned into something so ultimately useless and unproductive, and as the tenor of it got to be so toxic and so argumentative, I think it's probably more difficult to organize around social media. It's probably more difficult to build a community around the issue that you were talking about. It just kind of becomes a place to scream and for people to scream at each other. And if you have a generation that has been raised on social media and that's the means through which they communicate, I could see why they would be burnt out from talking about any of this, because I know how burnout I have felt at different points. But things have changed in a way that I think is bad. And I think that maybe we should ask ourselves how to change it the other way.
All right, Bo, let's get to some voicemails.
Speaking of changing. Way to go, Wipe. Way to go.
Let's hear from a good friend of the show.
I like to ask this question. Come on, y'all. The Big Ten is taking over the network. Michigan won a championship. Ohio State won a championship. Indiana won a championship. 3 in a row. That's 3 repeats. The Big Ten won the championship. Come on, recruiters. Come on, my boosters. We getting out pimped. We from Alabama. We got the gold in our mouth, and the green is for the money, gold is for the honey. There's no way we should let a small town like Indiana. All they got is cornfield. We got deer, we got cows, we got everything you want, and we ain't winning national championship. Come on, Texas, step your game up. You got Jerry Jones. You got all the biggest pimp boosters in there. You got 85-year-old, 90-year-old boosters, and y'all ain't winning no championship. Something's wrong, man. And we got to start spending our money, because if we let this happen, everybody going to go to the portal to Indiana, Ohio State. And we got to get back Alabama and Texas. We got to step our game up. Pimping is not good, and when you let these small cities take over our network. Not the Big Ten. The Big Ten is not a good network. Alabama, we got to get those boosters back up. We got to get back. We got to go find these old grandfather with the money and start pimping these guys again. Texas, them Longhorns, you got to raise your hand, man. Y'all getting too soft down there. Y'all got a commercial with a damn cow running down the street. Start recruiting these boys again. All right? This is Westside Mike. They call me DJ Mike Kent, man. I'm telling you something. Alabama will win the national championship because I'm going to come be back a booster. We're going to start pimping these boys again. Have a good day.
Okay, we're not going to pimp them. I just want to throw that part out there. I will say
the show does not endorse this.
No. I mean, they was pimping them back in the day, though. So I guess, when Alabama was winning, that's what it was. We have not talked about Indiana winning the championship since Indiana won the championship. It is insane that Indiana won a national championship at football. Like every football program, there should have been a team meeting the next day. Right. And I don't know who's calling the meeting, but somebody need to get cussed out. in that moment. I told you, Wake Forest won the ACC in 2006. Everybody got fired in the next 2 years. No excuses. Nobody had any excuses left. They got a 64-year-old coach up there. And they went and won a national championship on the other team home field. That happened. That happened. The SEC, boy, all that SEC talk, it's not, I can't believe I just can't believe any of it. Because I still think the SEC is better than the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten has had the best team in the country 3 years in a row.
Right. And they won it wire to wire. Like, what didn't get hot, didn't get lucky. We're the best team in the country from Labor Day till mid-January.
Well, hold up. Don't forget this. They got smoked in the playoff by Notre Dame last year. And so we're just like, okay, there's a ceiling on this. It was a cute story. And then they went to Oregon for the regular season game and won that game by like 10 points on the road.
Right.
Then came back and beat them again in the playoff. Like, they went and took a step. This wasn't like last year was kind of, oh, this is cute. They was like, okay, now we about to win.
Beat Ohio State.
Neutral site. Neutral-ish, but
man, there are a lot of Ohio State fans in Indianapolis too.
Everywhere. They're
everywhere.
They are unavoidable.
All right, here's our next one.
First off, Bo, the Knicks are not winning the East. Okay? The Pistons are going to get rid of them in 5. But to my question, in the NBA, who is the Josh Allen of the NBA? Meaning, no matter how many times they choke, fall apart, the media always makes an excuse. My answer is going to always be the most overrated point guard in the NBA, which is Chris Paul, because all he has done is get hurt and lose to Steph Curry. So I just want to know from you, who is the Josh Allen of the NBA? It could be currently or of all time. Love the show, man. Thank you.
I mean, I got to be honest. I don't really feel like people make that many excuses for Chris Paul. Like, I see a great deal of celebrating when things don't go well for Chris Paul. I think the Josh Allen of the NBA has to be a current player. And
I had a historical one.
Okay, so I have a current one that bears a lot of Josh Allen similarities as it relates to how people respond to when he doesn't do what he's supposed to do or the way they react to some of his shortcomings. And I bet you can guess who it is.
I'm really blanking on a current.
All right, so I'll give you another hint. You know, there's some reasons in part why people root so hard for Josh Allen vis-a-vis some of his peers. Who has borne some of that characteristic in the NBA? I say Luka Doncic.
Oh, there we go.
Luka, hey man, I saw somebody put on the internet about Luka not playing defense. Did you know Luka don't play defense? So you got to put people around him that do. And that JJ asking Luka to play defense is just too much.
I was going pre-2011 Dirk.
Ooh, see, I don't know, maybe I was just in different rooms. When they lost that series in 2007, and then in 2008, he let David West tap him on the jaw, we was over here killing Dirk.
I guess the soft European thing didn't make him one of us. If you know,
he was getting killed. That was the thing. But Dirk changed the whole game for all the Europeans by winning that one, right? Pau Gasol, that was cool, but we still thought you was soft. You know what I'm saying? Dirk came out there and did that year. Nobody's one ring changed everything quite like Dirk's one ring changed everything.
All right, here's our last one.
Hey, Bo. This is Matt in OC, and I was listening to the White Reggie calls, and that reminded me, I spent some time in Northeast Alabama, and it's the only place I ever ran into this situation. What about white Jalen's? Because there were a mess of them in North Alabama. Never heard of it before, never heard of it since. But yeah, white Jalen. Love the show. Listen soon. Bye.
Now, the question you need to ask yourself, my brother, is, are you sure they're white? Like, for example, you ever seen John Kitna's son?
I've not seen little Kitna.
Now,
I hope, again, to call back to our earlier conversation, I hope he has a J name and not a K name.
Well, he has a J name, and he's a Jaden. or a Jalen, one of the two. I can't remember which. But first of all, if you Google him, the news stories are going to be tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But just look at a picture of him, okay? I thought that he was white Jalen, or what? It's Jalen, right?
Yes, Jalen.
I thought he was white Jalen, and then I saw a picture of his mom. Plot twist. No, he was not white Jalen. He was just quite light Jalen. What I think may be happening in these cases with these white Jalens in North Alabama, I would assume that there is a Y in there, because when a white mama is involved, the Jalen takes on some permutations that normally involve there being a Y, especially in like the last syllable, like Jalyn. You understand what I'm saying? Jaylyn, or the Jayden, Jadyn. I don't know why. The white woman who may have like a slanty haircut and some big old bangles, you know what I'm saying? That's what she tend to wind up doing that with the name. So as it relates to white Jalen, we don't know how white the white Jalen actually is. And number two, once again, shout out to Jalen Rose's mama. She cooked with that one. She really did change the world with the name she gave her son. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 4 times a week. Ryan Brumley handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.